Hi, I'm Ronnie from Ronnie's Garage. We're holding our monthly tech meet at my shop, and today we're going to be talking about the differences between the Silver Cloud Bentley 1s, 2s, and 3s. So if you look at this one, it should have a small one too. It's a small oval brake pad, but it's a right-hand drive. They don't have room for that big pedal on the left-hand drive. So this is a Silver Cloud 2 long wheelbase division car. So this is a coach-built car in the essence. And the way you can tell it's a long wheelbase is if you look at this back door, you'll see that it's just got the rectangular window. The quarter window is part of the body. If you look at this car, the quarter window is part of the door. So what they do is they add, I think, 4 inches in there to make it longer. That is for rear passenger legroom, and also it improves the ride. The compromise on a car like this that has the division window is in the driver. A long-legged driver is at a disadvantage on these because you can't move the seat back.
That's why you get a long wheelbase.
Well, you can, but you look like you're squatting on the ground when you do that.
Without a division, you can move it back. With the division,
Right.
That's why I didn't get a long wheelbase. I couldn't do it.
Why
They
are
were
there
built for chauffeurs
There's
also.
snaps on top of the...
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that unless they have a privacy curtain you can put in there. It's not like it's a tonneau on a convertible. So I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know everything.
I think
that's
you're
for
correct. It's privacy curtain.
So as you can see, this has factory air for the rear, or it's coach built. There's a switch right here for the cooling. It doesn't have it in the front, that extra switch on this. Okay. And this actually has been retrofitted with a front air unit too. If you see, there is in the dash over there, there's usually a speaker grill. It's got some AC vents.
Where do they put it on the side? Do they take off the panel and put another air conditioner?
No, they put it up inside the dash. Get a small unit, fits up in there, and you tap into the same AC compressor and condenser. So then you can have, it really blows nice and cold. The drawback that I have, or the one thing I don't like, and just while we're at it, let's look at the steering wheel. Completely different looking. It's smaller, and the nubs are at an angle rather than perpendicular or parallel with the surface. Okay, and you can't swap them. They have totally different hubs. You can't change them. And while we're in here, you can see that it has a 4-in-1 gauge for the fuel, ammeter, engine temperature, and oil gauges, and then it has a separate clock.
So all the Cloud 2s have power steering?
No.
No?
I think so.
I don't.
Yeah, yours does. Yes, it does.
If it don't move like power steering.
It's semi-Armstrong.
all along.
And that's a great question because the Silver Cloud 2 came with the power steering, and it's more of a suggestion, I think, on them because they do require a lot more effort than that Silver Cloud 3. When they came out with the Silver Cloud 3, they boosted the pressure, changed the steering box valving, and it's like butter.
Yep.
The Cloud 2s are not quite like butter. They're more like hard butter, frozen butter.
English butter.
I don't know about English butter.
But that's with the worms.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As you can see, this one has a roof-mounted antenna also. Look at that. But it's a right-hand drive, and I think that's part of it. I don't know all the details on it. The way they built these.
Roof-mounted rearview mirror. Most of them stick on the dash.
I'm sorry?
It's also got a roof-mounted rearview mirror. Most of them stick on the pedestal on the dash.
No. Well, you're right. You're right. Maybe it's because of the division.
It might be. It might be. Yeah.
Ronnie, the dash rail looks Cloud 1 back here.
This is a coach-built car, so this is kind of a different one. And he has a great point. It has the same style dash as that Cloud 1. Typically an S2 or a Cloud 2 will have vents in here. If you look at that Cloud 3 dash, it has vents built into the dash, and that's for the heater ventilation. And then sometimes when this has an air conditioning that has been made as factory. Might as well deal with that on this one right now. The heating and air conditioning system on the, at least the heating system on the Cloud 1, I told you there are 2 heater cores, 1 on each side, 2 fan ducts. When they went to the 2 and 3, they made 1 big unit on this side. So it's split in half, part of it's defrost, part of it's heater. They have 1 blower coming from here for the upper part. The upper part feeds these ventilation vents up there and then the defrost vents. And that takes its air from down here. The lower part, which can also be incorporated as a recirculation, there's a blower underneath the floor here. There's a blower unit under there and it comes up. This big unit, I wish I could show you guys, it's about this tall, about this wide, and about this deep. And it's stuck in that fender. You can see part of it right here. That's where your HVAC unit is, essentially, not including the fans.
I think we saw it about a year and a half ago. We had a cloud back here in something.
Possibly. Now, I think their design is really good, except for servicing it. The proper method to get to that thing, take it out, fix it, is to pull the front fender. And it's real easy. But pulling a front fender, you always run the risk of damaging paint. So, and sometimes, some cars don't have this crease here like you're supposed to. It's bondoed, so that's gonna... As you can see under the engine compartment here, there's a lot more room, I think, than that AC car over here. And what, I forget who was talking about, the air cleaner on the V8 models is this big giant spaceship looking thing.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it's fiberglass, and it's designed so that you can lift it up and hang it right like that. So you can access the oil filler and do your service work. This car is a really shabby car, so I really have to apologize for it. This is Gene's car. He's snickering over there. He restored it himself. Very fine example of a Silver Cloud 3. I remember when my dad bought this car and then sold it to Gene. Right? Isn't that what happened? Yes. It was nasty. And that's putting it lightly. Oh, it's more than a little rough. I remember it was just.
How long did it take to restore it? 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years.
And I remember asking my dad, why did you buy this thing? He goes, I'll find somebody to buy it. No, and that's where I'm going to argue with every one of you, because this affliction that we have in this club for cars, this is a perfect example of enthusiasm and dedication. He spent 12 years, you said? He drove it in that shabby condition, smoking real bad and doing all kinds of stuff for a while. And then he convinced an icon in the club, Dave Clark, who had a shop, to let him work on his own car in the shop. And I think along with that condition, you had to take a lot of verbal abuse from him?
No, I had wild stories that I had to...
Oh, wild stories. And I know Bill has been part of that process with Dave Clark too. So I admire somebody who does this all by himself, and if we lifted this car, it's just as clean underneath. Everything. So, I mean, I just like that. But here's your antenna. Everybody's talking about that antenna. This is in the fender. This is nice. This is the proper one, a flat top. This is what Rolls-Royce used.
What kind of radio do you have in it, Jim? What kind of radio?
It's an original AM/FM Rolls.
So the delta on the hood, which is what...
I love the way you talk.
Huh?
I love the way you talk.
I talked dirty, right?
I like the way you talk. Remember Sling Blade? That was a great movie. So what he's talking about is the height of the grill here. If you take a tape measure, I don't know what it is, it's probably 3 inches. Yeah. And you see the front of this car, to me, looks much more elegant. It's much lower. It's got the 4 headlamps. It's got the turn indicators and these front marker lights. I think it's a better driving car. It's the most refined version of the Silver Cloud.